Should you buy raw coins? We're going to be going over the pros and cons of buying raw coins versus certified coins. This is not investment advice, and this is a little bit of a different video, so I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be showing you all these coins as I always do. We have a nice selection from the Regency Coins store of raw coins. I love the look of these crusty old coins. When they get put in holders, they just look a little bit different, but I love dealing with raw coins. Previously, we had just offered certified coins on regencycoins.com, but we're starting now to offer both certified and raw coins. These are all going to be available for sale on regencycoins.com. Make sure to use coupon code TAKE10 or YouTube10 for 10% off of your order. So I'm going to be going through the pros and cons. We'll be throwing in a pro and a con here and there while we look at the different coins. We'll be showing you all these different coins. Yeah, we'll just talk about them right off the bat because I know some people get concerned. I did clean off my hands before making this video. You should definitely always do that before you're handling raw coins. And if you're not familiar with rare coins to any degree, here's an example of a certified coin. And here's what we consider a raw coin. A certified coin obviously just being in the holder. You can send off raw coins to get certified at a number of different grading companies. They'll put them in this plastic for you and add a label to it with the grade. So here's the first raw coin that we have. It's an 1890S San Francisco Morgan with some nice toning. I really like the reverse of this coin. This is a better date. Nice original color, some light toning. We have a really cool Isabella quarter, 1893. I'll say right off the bat, I'm trying really hard not to drop these coins, and that is definitely a con, which we'll talk more about later in the video about dealing with raw coins, is you have to be a lot more careful. So hopefully we don't drop any coins in this video, but we'll see. Here's a 1917 Standing Liberty quarter. Nice luster. This coin looks like it may have been cleaned a while ago. So the first pro for dealing with raw coins instead of graded coins is the potential for better deals. There's a few reasons why this might be. The first off, there's just less grading fees in the equation. So when you're selling a raw coin, or when we're selling raw coins, for example, we don't have to worry about sending in the coin and adding a $50 grading fee or a $30 grading fee, depending on the tier. So we can pass those savings right on to you or who's ever buying the raw coin. Additionally, grading spreads are a big deal. So when you're buying raw coins, there's a potential for buying a coin in, say, very fine condition, where the coin may be, not super nice, or maybe nicer, I guess, than a normal very fine 20. The coin might look more like a 25 or 30, and there could be a huge price difference at that new level. So you might be able to sneak a nice, very fine coin priced as a very fine 20, and if you decide to grade the coin later or keep it in your collection, you might be able to benefit from that additional few points in grade. Here's a seeded $50. This coin is cleaned. It's got a light toning. Cleaned but retoned over. Another thing that can contribute to the potential of better deals is the sales velocity, and this is a big one for us, and the reason why we're offering raw coins instead of just certified coins. If we have to send the coins out to get graded, it can take a few months. If we're offering rare coin or raw coins on certified coins, we can save you guys some money by bringing the coins to market much faster. Here's a 1920 AD dime. This one's high AU with pretty strong bands on the reverse. They look full to me. But that's another disadvantage of buying raw coins, or potentially an advantage if you have a good grading eye. There's no guarantee from any third-party company or no second opinion on the coin, so what looks full bands to me can be, maybe it's not full bands if you were to send it in, though I really do think this one is. We always try to err on the side of caution when grading coins, and 28D Mercury, by the way, is a slightly better date. We always try to err on the side of caution and give the buyer the benefit of the doubt, and we'll stand by our raw coins, especially as we start rolling these out. Try to note all details, like this one has an old cleaning, it appears. It'll probably pass. Actually, it may just be, I actually think this coin is just high AU. Another potential drawback of raw coins is this coin was probably wiped on the obverse at some point. You can see some hairlines there, but it may still pass at grading. Maybe just a high AU, like an AU 55, AU 58. And so the subjectivity is something that you can certainly benefit from, but also something you need to be careful with raw coins for sure. So if you're training your eye or you're purchasing really high-end coins, I'd recommend sticking to certified coins for the most part, and we will of course continue to offer certified coins. However, if you're newer, or if you're an experienced collector or a dealer who knows what they're doing, maybe you can add a couple raw coins to your collection and not have to worry about it. Here's a 1921 peace dollar. This coin looks like it may have some tooling up there. Something's just off about this one, and it looks like potentially some tooling or something going on. But still, looks like a nice uncirculated details 1921 peace dollar. Another big issue is buying raw coins from dealers who you don't trust. This is actually a good example. Here's a 1929 D Walking Liberty half dollar. This coin appears to me to be about uncirculated details. This is the type of coin that you might see it from another seller listed as mint state 63, 64, 65. When there's pretty clear this coin has an old cleaning on it, which should be noted when you purchase from them, but there's a lot of sellers online who don't care at all. And in fact, a lot of sellers online that buy coins which are details, crack them out of details holders, or sell them as they are at a very much higher grade, just for the sole purpose of making more money. They do it sort of, I don't know, we'll just say that they're just scamming people. I won't name names, but if you go online, you can probably find a few examples pretty quickly. There's some bad sellers out there who will just take details coins, coins with problems, hide the problems, Photoshop the images, whatever, and then sell the coins as much higher grades than they really are. So be careful when you're buying coins. Always look for hidden issues. You should assume raw coins have issues. They may not, and a lot of raw coins don't have issues, but it's always good to try to find the issues first, assume all raw coins are going to have issues, and then work from there, and then say, okay, I don't see any, so therefore this coin might be okay. The coin's priced too good to be true, it's probably a scam. And be really careful with auctions, because some people get carried away, don't know what they're doing, and if you get stuck in that, you can really overpay for some messed up coins. This one's cleaned, for example, and we'll always be sure to note stuff like this on our coins. I look at all these coins before we list them, all the raw coins especially, and note any problems that I see. Again, all these coins are available at regencycoins.com. Use code YouTube10 for 10% off. Here's a 1920 Walking Liberty half dollar. This coin's got like maybe a light wipe on the obverse, so you can see some hairlines there. But is a nice higher grade example. Another issue in buying raw coins is you don't have a price guide necessarily to back the coin up for. There's a pretty liquid wholesale market for certified coins. Uncertified coins don't necessarily have buyers who will pay you a certain amount or a specific amount based on the grade of the coin. So if a coin, say this coin's this coin's actually details, and I need to mark that scratch. I didn't see that obverse scratch until just now, but let's say you buy this coin in an AU55 holder. This one wouldn't, but just bear with me on the example. You buy a coin at 3 cents silver, 1863 cents silver as an AU55. There's a pretty liquid market, dealer market, collector market, that you know you can get a certain amount for the AU55 3 cents silver. When you're buying a raw coin, I would say a large majority of the market is not interested or is building in some risk. And so you're not really going to find a solid buyer market for raw coins. So you have to be a little more cautious when you're buying. It's really easy to overpay. There's a lot of people who are overcharging for raw coins, kind of hiding the details like we talked about, but just making sure that you're cautious on price. Understand that the liquidity when you go to sell raw coins is not going to be as high. And that's not to say that you can't get good deals. I always buy nice raw coins strongly, but not all dealers are going to be the same. A lot of dealers, especially on coins which are kind of on the edge, are going to want to work in more room for raw coins, whereas a certified coin is ready to go. There's more big wholesale buyers, and they're easier to kind of flip immediately. Something to be aware of. Here's a Lafayette dollar, nice, cool commemorative. This is like looks like a high AU coin to me, and it has a really nice reverse toning. It's likely sat in an old manila envelope for a long time. Coins like this are really cool to hold raw. This can be in a holder and it's more of a commodity, but when it's raw like this, there's just something to it. You can put this in your commemorative book, your type book, etc. And I'm trying to mention like problems as I notice them, or mention things to you and talk about these coins, but I'm also trying to do more like informational stuff on this video. So let me know what you guys think about that. If you want me just to focus on the coins in future videos, I can. If you want me to discuss other coin topics, I can certainly do that too. But trying to do both here. But if there's details on these coins that I note, problems on these coins, I'll put details in the item description, or the item title, and then in the item description on regencycoins.com, you can find a note from me on what I think is wrong with the coin. I always try to do that. Like I said, might not catch all the issues, but I will catch most of them. Here's a really nice brown, probably brown. It's got a little bit of red, but mostly brown 1901 Indian head cent. Here's a nice 1940S Walking Liberty half dollar. This coin's uncirculated, even though the strike there on the obverse is really weak, but you can see how nice and clean the fields are. It's very lustrous. It's got something going on here on the reverse. Can't quite tell what that is. If it's as made from the mint, or almost looks like a wheel mark or something, but I don't know. The coin's really nice, honestly, other than that. Especially for a 40S, they just don't come that nice. Typically, harder to find. All right, let's see what we haven't found yet. Here's a cool error. You've probably been looking at this one. It seems to be in the camera. 1994 D cent, Lincoln Memorial cent. This one is missing the plating. Struck on an unplated planchet. And the coin is like really, really high grade. Usually if I find these, they're like kind of corroded and gross. But this one is really cool, just being like full, brilliant, uncirculated. Really cool. Not something you see every day. And I just did an example of a collector lesson that you should probably learn if you're not super into coins yet, or if you're still learning. This one is totally okay to handle like this because it's low grade, but if you see how I picked the coin up, this one specifically by touching the face of the coin, that's kind of a big no-no on higher grade coins, especially. This coin, it's not going to do anything to, but always make sure you're holding raw coins by the rim and not touching the face of the coin. You can leave fingerprints or other issues that can ruin the value and stuff. So, oh shoot, I was waiting for that to happen. Luckily, we dropped a 20-cent piece with no issues and not a silver dollar. It actually leads me into a couple of the other issues with raw coins. I think that they're starting first with maybe a more positive thing. I think they're way more fun to handle. You can put these coins in your collection. You can have different books or different sets. Here's a $3 gold piece with some scratches. But you can put these in your sets, your typesets, your Dansko albums, whatever you collect coins in. You can actually touch the coin, which is kind of cool, just being able to hold the old history and stuff. But there's always the risk of damaging the coin. Of course, you can damage a coin in a holder too, but you gotta really try hard. Usually the plastic is the worst thing that's gonna get damaged or chipped up, but you can like totally destroy a coin if you have it raw and ungraded. So just something to think about too if you're considering buying raw coins and you haven't really bought many before. This coin's pretty cool. I bought this coin and I had really high hopes for it. It's been cleaned, unfortunately, but man, the color is just spectacular. That's a fairly high grade coin as well. This would have just been amazing if the coin wasn't cleaned. It would definitely be on its way to PCGS. So damaging the coin, it's easier, I feel like, to lose these or misplace them as well. It's another issue with buying raw coins. Here's a nice 24S peace dollar. All things to consider. I will say one other positive as we get to the end of the coins, at least that I've noticed, is if you handle raw coins, it seems to make your eye better for spotting problems, as well as maybe grading if you send the coins off to get graded. Here, this 1823 has an old cleaning, but in my opinion, this would be market acceptable. Really cool dime, and this is actually a 23/2. I think they all are. Let's see if I can get that over date. You can see the serif of the 2 there, coming out of the bottom of the 3. But when the coins are raw like this and they're not encapsulated in plastic, you can really see like the different marks the coins have, the different color changes. You can see the hairlines on this one. If this was in a holder, it'd be a lot harder to see that and to find that and to train your eye on it. So definitely a pro of buying raw coins. 1819 cat bust half dollar, some light toning. I think a collector who really knows what they're doing and is confident in that, and there's no shame in preferring certified coins, of course, but a collector who really knows what they're doing should feel comfortable buying raw coins in addition to certified coins. But I'd recommend, if you're newer to collecting, to maybe consider buying your first coin certified and venture slowly into buying raw coins. If you know what you're doing, you've been doing it for a long time, you know how to grade coins and spot problems and know how to price coins raw, you can really find some good deals raw. I think there's way more room in most raw coins. You can find varieties like this O over Carson City. You can see that. And I think it's just more fun and enjoyable to deal with raw coins than certified coins. Personally, I've done a lot of both. I'm just getting more into raw coins now. And my preference is the raw coins, but there's no right or wrong way to do it, to collect or deal. Here's an 1895S. Key date. Counterfeits are another big issue. So always make sure you're checking key dates, especially for diagnostics. Compare them to genuine examples. Look for added mint marks, removed mint marks, tooling, all sorts of things when buying raw coins. Most key dates, I would say, unless you're buying from a trusted dealer, I would recommend key dates you purchase certified. Here's another rare coin, 1893 Philadelphia. Really, who you buy coins from is a big deal, and probably most of the issue. If you're buying from some auction companies on certain platforms that just let like junk just go for auction, and you know they have bad reviews online, just don't buy anything from them. You're never going to get a good deal, most likely. Your odds of getting scammed are so much higher than getting a good coin. Stick with dealers you know. Stick with dealers you trust. That's usually the good way to go. Here's an 1893 it's got some graffiti on the cheek. Say one thing you notice when you deal with raw coins instead of certified coins is just how many coins have issues. Like coins are, these coins have been circulating for a couple hundred years in some cases, and even a problem-free coin, which would be in a holder, is going to have issues. Like this one has an old cleaning, and it may get 50% of the time, it may end up in a holder, and the other half of the time, actually I think this one would probably err on the side of making it in a holder with a straight grade, but you never know. You could send this coin in 10 times and get 5 different results. So just leaving some room if you're buying raw coins, I think, is a safe bet. And again, purchase from trusted sellers. Here's an 1810. I wish I knew more about varieties, but I don't. 1810 cat bust $50. This coin maybe has some light environmental problems, and some old scratches, but I actually like the look of this one. Here's a 1921 Walking Liberty $50. It's got a light rim ding. It's common on these $50. And we have a 1946 Iowa commemorative, and these come really nice. So these always come really nice, but this one is no exception to that. A nice gem BU for sure. And those are the raw coins that I have to show. Again, all these are available at regencycoins.com. Make sure to use code YouTube10 for 10% off your order. Ask any questions if you have them. I'll try to respond to them down below, but you can also email contact@regencycoins.com, or message us through the website. Some good deals here for you guys if you're looking for some nice raw coins, some nice fresh original examples. Most of these were just uploaded to the website in the last days or week or so. We're going to start to offering more raw coins as well as more certified coins. We've been buying a lot of stuff. We have a lot of new stuff coming, so stay tuned. regencycoins.com is where you want to go to buy any of these coins. And let me know what you thought about this video. I can do more videos like this where I talk about different topics while looking at the coins. If you guys want me to just look at the coins and talk about the coin specifically and not add the extra commentary, that's totally fine too. Or we can make videos that are more strictly informational and not looking at specific coins. So let me know what you prefer. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.